Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. For those of you who don't know, I started Grumpy Old Fart to express my political and social opinions and to say things that I felt needed to be said. Unfortunately, YouTube started giving me strikes. As a hedge against this happening, I've created backup YouTube channels, Grumpy Old Gamer and Grumpy Old Ufologist. I also created a channel called Grumpy Old Fart over on Rumble, a free speech alternative to YouTube. You can find all of my stuff there, including my political opinion and current events. The link to my Rumble channel, as well as links to let you order my books, are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a historic haunting video on the New Mexico State Prison. This place has been rife with stories of apparitions and different things for decades, and I'm going to go into the reasons why. Before we get started on this video, however, I need for everyone to know that this particular story has a certain significance for me. My brother Robert was incarcerated at this prison when the 1980 riot occurred. Thankfully, he and another inmate broke out a window and fled the prison at the outbreak. They found the cops and gave themselves up. They were spared the horror of that event. Others were not so fortunate. Okay. Here we go. Excuse me. The New Mexico State Penitentiary near Santa Fe was built in 1956. It was built to house something like 900 inmates. By 1978, it housed over 1,200. The inmates were housed in open bay type dormitories with very little privacy. Inmates slept on the floor when the beds were all taken. Many inmates felt they were treated like animals. There was a snitch system in place. The story is much bigger than this, but I'm trying to condense it for the sake of the time of the video. My target time is 4 minutes, and I go over it way too much. But there's a lot of information, and I'm kind of condensing it, and I apologize. None of the inmates were getting the mental care, psychiatric care that they needed, and it was not a good situation. There was overcrowding. The inmates had all kinds of mental issues that weren't being addressed, and because they were so short on guards, there was a snitch system in place. Long story short, in February of 1980, inmates jumped 3 guards during the night count and instigated the most violent, brutal, and horrific prison riot in American history. 34 inmates died, and most of those were tortured to death. One inmate's head was paraded on a stick. Execution squads were out to settle scores, and enemies and snitches. There was work being done at the prison at the time, so prisoners gained access to acetylene torches and other tools, and they were able to cut their way into cells, and they used these various implements, including the torch, on enemies that they wanted to get even with, snitches, that kind of thing. The whole thing was horrific. It was brutal, and the state cops had surrounded the prison so nobody could escape, but they didn't get word to go in for quite some time, several days. Normally, I would not use a paranormal investigation television program in these videos, but in this case, their findings help to explain what happened. The Dead Files did an investigation at this prison, and I did a video on paranormal programs that my wife and I enjoy, and the Dead Files was listed as one of them because they're very compelling. Their investigation makes sense to me. Now, of course, it all could be faked. We don't know. But their investigation to me, their investigation style, the way that they go about their investigations, the bedrock reality of the research, to me, it strikes a chord. It makes more sense than a lot of the others. The Dead Files did this investigation at the prison, and in part, they found that for centuries the land that the prison was built on was fought over by local native tribes, Spanish conquistadors, Mexican explorers, and white Europeans. The land was cursed with evil long before the prison was built. Long before America became America, there were stories about this land, this particular area, being home to all manner of demons and evil spirits and things like that. And it makes sense. Demonic and other evil presences inhabit this area. The prison was built, and you had crazy people not getting the mental help that they needed. Then the overcrowding compounded the problems. When the kettle blew, literally all hell broke loose. If the demonic presences and the evil spirits is the claims there, if they're valid, then this prison would have been an ideal breeding ground for their machinations. You see what I'm saying? The land is cursed. There's evil presences and demonic spirits there. They build a prison, fill it with a bunch of crazy people, and don't give them the mental help they need. And with a snitch system in place, they encourage these crazy people to turn on each other. It was literally a recipe for disaster. And as I said, when the kettle blew, all hell broke loose. Over the years, since this riot, dark figures, disembodied voices, apparitions, ghostly sounds, all manner of paranormal activity has been reported, and it's been reported constantly from the ruins of this old prison. They built a new prison, but the old prison is still there, and they man it with some, a few people here and there, caretakers, for lack of a better word. One thing I learned from the Dead Files show is that new guards are warned to be aware and beware of the paranormal activity in the prison. It's in their handbook. So, this is something you don't see a lot in paranormal videos. The state of New Mexico warns their corrections officers about the ghostly activity in this place. That tells you something. That is freaky. Can you imagine being hired on as a guard? You got to be tough and bedrock, and right there in your handbook it says, "Watch out though, because there's ghosts." Holy shit! That would just tear. It's time to find a new damn job. That's all I'm saying. Ay. And prayers for the people who survived this. Prayers for the families of the people who were murdered in this. By all accounts, it was hell on earth, and nobody deserves to go through that. I hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.